Electric cars were supposed to be the future. The government promised it. The automakers pushed it. And dealerships, they were told, get on board or get left behind. But now, something shocking is happening. Dealerships across America are pushing back. They're saying, no more EVs. Showrooms are overflowing with unsold electric cars. Lots are turning into graveyards of battery-powered dreams. Ford dealers are quitting. GM dealers are quitting. Even some luxury brands are quietly backing away. And here's the truth. Dealerships aren't just complaining. They're revolting. Because EVs are not making them money. They're costing them money. So today, we ask the question, why are dealerships quitting EVs? And what does this mean for the future of America's car market? Because if dealers don't want them, if customers don't buy them, the EV revolution may be collapsing before it even began. When the EV push began, it was painted as a revolution. Politicians promised millions of chargers. Automakers promised clean, quiet cars for everyone. And the dealers? They were told this was the golden ticket. EVs will sell themselves, they said. People will line up around the block. But fast forward to 2025, and reality looks very different. Dealers are staring at lots full of unsold EVs, rows of brand new electrics sitting there for months. The promise of easy sales? It never happened. Customers walked into showrooms, looked at the price tag, and walked right back out. Because let's be honest, EVs are expensive. A compact EV can cost more than a mid-size gas SUV. And for most families, that's a deal breaker. But it's not just the price, it's the charging. The government said, don't worry, chargers are everywhere. But go ahead, ask anyone who actually drives an EV. The charging network is patchy, unreliable, and often broken. People don't want to gamble their daily commute on whether or not a charger is working. Then there's the hidden cost that no one wanted to talk about. The batteries. They don't last forever. Replacing one can cost $15,000 or more. Dealers know this. Customers know this. And it makes buyers hesitate. At first, dealers tried to play along. They stocked the EVs. They trained the staff. They invested money in chargers for their lots. But the sales? They never came. Meanwhile, the government kept tightening the screws. New rules, new quotas. You must sell this many EVs, they were told. But how can you sell what customers don't want? Here's the harsh truth. Dealers survive on volume. They make money when cars move fast. They make money on service and repairs. But EVs? They don't move fast. They sit. And when they do sell, they don't come back for service because EVs need so little maintenance. So instead of being a golden ticket, EVs became a nightmare for dealerships. Inventory piled up. Profits vanished. And dealers started asking, why are we even doing this? That's why today we're seeing the cracks widen. Dealers are no longer whispering their frustration. They're shouting it. They're quitting EVs, flat out saying, we can't make this work. The promise of a smooth EV transition is broken, and that's where the revolt begins. If part one was the build-up, this is where the story explodes. Because right now, in 2025, dealers across America are openly revolting against the EV push. We're not talking about quiet complaints in back rooms anymore. We're talking about public statements, open letters, and entire dealer associations pushing back. Take Ford, for example. A year ago, they told dealers, if you want to sell EVs, you'll need to invest hundreds of thousands of dollars. Charging stations, training, special tools. But guess what? Over 1,000 Ford dealers said, no thanks. They simply refused to sign up. Then came GM. They wanted Cadillac dealers to invest up to $500,000 just to keep selling Cadillacs. And when some dealers refused, GM said, fine, walk away. Over 40% of Cadillac dealers quit instead of selling EVs. Think about that. These are long-standing businesses, family-owned dealerships, some going back generations. And they looked at EVs and said, not worth it. We'd rather quit. But it doesn't stop there. Just last month, the Virginia Automobile Dealers Association sent a warning shot. They said EV mandates are unrealistic. They said customers aren't buying. And they flat out told lawmakers, stop forcing this. Now, why does this matter? Because dealers are the middlemen. Automakers can build all the EVs they want, but if dealers refuse to stock them, refuse to sell them, those EVs don't move. And here's the kicker. Automakers can't survive without dealers. Tesla might sell direct, but GM, Ford, Toyota, Honda, all of them rely on dealer networks. If the dealers revolt, the system breaks down. You see, dealers have leverage. They know the customers. They know what moves and what doesn't. They know that in places like Texas or Kansas or Ohio, buyers want trucks, SUVs, and reliable gas cars. Not $60,000 electric crossovers that can't make it to grandma's house without charging. So when dealers push back, it forces automakers to rethink. Already, we've seen Ford slow down production of the F-150 Lightning. We've seen GM delay their big EV launches. And guess what they're doing instead? Ramping up hybrids, because that's what customers actually want. Here's the big point. This isn't just a temporary slowdown. This is a structural revolt. Dealers are making it clear they will not go bankrupt just to push EVs that sit unsold. And this revolt is spreading. From small towns to big cities, dealers are joining forces. They're lobbying lawmakers. They're talking to the media. And they're saying what customers have been saying all along. This EV transition is not ready. And we refuse to be the ones holding the bag. This is the battle line. On one side, the government and automakers pushing an agenda. On the other, the dealers who actually face customers every single day. And right now, the dealers are winning. Now, let's talk about the people who really decide the future of the auto market. Not the government, not the automakers, not even the dealerships. I'm talking about the customers. Because here's the truth. Consumers are speaking louder than ever. And what they're saying is crystal clear. They're not ready for an all-EV world. Let's start with the numbers. EV sales growth has stalled. Last year, it looked like EVs were unstoppable. Tesla was setting records. Ford was hyping the Lightning. GM promised an all-EV future. But then reality hit. Now EVs are piling up on lots. Inventories are growing. And dealers are literally begging automakers to slow down production. Why? Because the average buyer is looking at EVs and saying, too expensive, too inconvenient, too risky. Take price, for example. The average EV still costs over $55,000 in America. That's way above the average new car price. And with interest rates at 7% or more financing that EV, forget it. Monthly payments are hitting $900 or even $1,000. That's house payment territory. Then there's charging. Sure, you can plug in at home if you own a house, but millions of Americans live in apartments or older neighborhoods without easy access to chargers. Public charging stations? They're unreliable. Some are broken, some are slow, and on road trips, charging can turn into a nightmare. Consumers see all of this, and they compare it to a simple gas car or a hybrid. Fill it up in 5 minutes. Drive 400 miles. No stress. The choice becomes obvious. And let's not forget the resale problem. Right now, used EV prices are collapsing. People who bought a Tesla Model Y 2 years ago are finding out their car is worth 30 or 40% less today. That kills confidence. Why would anyone buy a brand new EV when they know it's going to lose half its value in 3 years? All of this leads to one thing: hesitation. People aren't buying. And when customers hesitate, the whole system cracks. But it's not just about money or convenience. There's also culture. Americans love freedom on the road. We love road trips. We love knowing we can drive across the state without worrying about where the next charger is. And for truck owners, it's even worse. Towing with an EV cuts range in half. So that $70,000 electric truck becomes useless for the very people it's supposed to serve. This is the consumer backlash. It's not loud protests. It's not people shouting in the streets. It's something more powerful. It's customers walking away from the sales floor. It's people saying no thanks with their wallets. And in the end, that's the voice that matters most. Because if consumers won't buy, the market collapses. It doesn't matter how many incentives the government offers. It doesn't matter how many billions automakers spend. The consumer decides. And right now, the consumer is saying, we're not ready, we're not buying, and we won't be forced. So here we are. Dealers are pushing back. Consumers are walking away, and automakers are caught in the middle of a storm. The big question is simple. What happens next? Some say EVs are dead, that the hype is over, that Americans will never fully adopt them. But that's not the full story. EVs aren't going away. They'll still have a place. But the future isn't the all-EV fantasy that automakers sold us. Instead, the real winner might be hybrids. Look around. Toyota, the company everyone mocked for being behind on EVs, is suddenly looking like a genius. While Ford and GM are losing billions on EV programs, Toyota is quietly selling hybrids by the millions. Cars that give you 50 miles per gallon. Cars that cost less than a pure EV. Cars that don't require you to search for a charger at midnight on a road trip. And guess what? Consumers love them. Hybrids are selling faster than dealers can stock them. Some dealers have wait lists. Why? Because hybrids give people what they want. Lower fuel costs, no charging headaches, and reliability. This is where the market is heading. Not an all-EV future. Not a total return to gas. But a messy middle ground where EVs exist alongside hybrids and traditional cars. And for dealerships, that's a lifeline. Because hybrids are easier to sell. They don't sit on lots for months. They don't require massive government rebates just to move units. They're profitable. Meanwhile, the government is in a tough spot. They've promised the public an EV revolution. They've set deadlines, bans on gas cars, big emission targets, billions in subsidies. But deadlines can be delayed. Policies can be rewritten. And when voters push back, politicians listen. Especially when car prices, jobs, and the economy are on the line. So what's the big picture? We're entering a transition. A slow, messy, expensive transition. Automakers will keep building EVs they have to, for regulations and image. But they'll also double down on hybrids. They'll quietly bring back plug-in hybrids. And they'll keep gas cars alive far longer than they originally promised. Because here's the truth. The market decides. Not the headlines. Not the hype. Not the government. The market. And right now, the market is screaming for balance. So what should you take away from this? Number 1. EVs aren't dead, but the dream of an all-EV America is collapsing. Number 2. Hybrids are about to explode in popularity. And number 3. Dealerships are sending a clear message. They won't be forced to sell cars that nobody wants. This fight isn't over. It's just beginning. And the next few years, they're going to be the most chaotic and unpredictable time the auto industry has seen in decades. So buckle up, because the pushback has started. And the car market will never look the same again.